Can you give me a headline for what it is that you just described, like this issue doing too much?
It's difficult to summarize. Um, hmm, I feel like it's well, I am balancing too many things at once, but I could also organize things a lot better. I don't know how to phrase it as if it's a headline. All I know is that I feel like it's too much. People asking how I do it. I do it because I don't really stop. And
Hmm.
they think, I'm balancing everything perfectly. Whereas to me, I often, when people ask me to do something, I don't say no, which is a bad thing. But yeah, it's hard to headline.
Okay. So the image that I get is somebody who's juggling like not just three balls or
10.
yeah, 10. Yeah. Yeah. And actually it might look like really balance or whatever, but
Yeah.
what it really is frantic, like just keeping all these balls in the air. And so
And it means I'm not doing one of those things well. I mean, I'd be doing a couple of those things well, and that's not to say that the things I'm doing have been done badly. It's just that I know there's things in there which are not doing to my normal standard. For example, I can out myself and say that work this week and last week, because I was doing all the other things, I wasn't, I was hitting deadlines, but just about. Usually I'll have things ready 5 days or 3 days in advance. And then I was posting them with like minutes to spare because,
Mhm,
post it Friday morning and there's me, oh, it's 11:30. Let me get this out. And
mhm.
that's unlike me. And I was doing that when I was broadcasting on live radio. And it then becomes a cycle for me where I get into this, okay, let me do it tomorrow attitude because I get so tired that it just carries over and then everything carries over. And then I have a list like this, and then, you know, it just doesn't work.
Mhm.
And I know that because when we started this, I was writing 3 A4 pages of morning pages each day. And now I wake up in the morning, I set my alarm for 8:30 because I need to sleep. I know I need to sleep, but I wake up and then I check my phone and it's emails, messages. I need to do this now. I either need to go out and do that thing now, or I need to feel like I need to throw myself straight into something.
Yeah.
And I know that's not right. And I know that the morning pages would help. But what I've been doing is thinking, okay, I need to use this time. I need to use this time. So I've been writing one page, for example, instead of three. And that's only touching the surface. And on that page, I'm just saying, okay, I'm just making excuses for why I need to rush everything.
What would help?
Um, I see. I don't think when I was we thought a lot about black and white thinking before and having only two options, whether to say no to things or say yes to things. I feel like I need to be tougher at negotiating how and when I do things
Hmm.
because I don't have the time to really think through and plan things. And when I do, they go well. But say if someone messaged me, okay, I'm relying on you to get this done. Can you do it tomorrow? And I'm like, well, I can, but I mean, it wouldn't really make sure I'm doing everything else comfortably. And there's like, okay, how about 11 a.m.? I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, that does mean that the morning's gone and I've got family down at the moment. I won't be able to see them today. So, and then it moved to 10 a.m. and then that's 10 a.m. to 1:30 gone. So that was this morning. That was done working on a project with someone because they're relying on me. And then we spoke and there was like an availability issue where they're okay, are you available on this date? I sent a message in this group chat. I know you didn't respond, but that's the date we're doing it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's actually my sister's birthday party. So no, I can't do it then. And like, okay, we've got to move. We did ask everyone. I'm like, well, to be honest, I haven't seen, I haven't looked, I haven't checked messages. Like your message. And I mean, that's something I wouldn't miss because I know I can quickly respond or quickly send a voice note. But I've just been missing these things, which means that it's creating a lot of tension.
Yeah.
And the person, that I'm working on this project, I mean, if they hear this, I'm sure they won't mind because I spoke to them about it and they're like, oh yeah, sorry. And I'm just like, I'm balancing so many things that if you do need an answer from me, you just have to ring me about 10 times and when I pick up, you'll get your answer.
So what I am hearing is like, so there is there is you, Joe, with the values of doing things with a certain amount of quality
Yeah.
and also to be reliable. And by taking on all these things, those values of you, your values, they sort of go out of the window because you become unreliable, which is completely against your nature, which of course creates then dis-ease with yourself. You get cranky with yourself and all these things. And what you just said is like that be tougher in negotiating would actually help. So, are you ready for a little game, like a?
I'm ready. I'm
Okay,
ready.
so imagine that not the tooth fairy, but the tough fairy
I love that.
comes visits you this night. I hope you get some sleep because they can only come when you sleep, right? Fairies, they're very fickle beings, so they can only come when you sleep. So, and she bestows, she, he, it, they, whatever, they bestow on you like the monster toughness. And in the morning you wake up and you're like, you have all the toughness in the world that you need. What would a day look like when you have all the toughness that you need to be successful in these negotiations?
In that case, I think today for me would have looked like visiting family in the morning and then going back home in the afternoon and then working on my assignments that are due in say like 3 weeks time. Instead, today looked like picking someone up at 10 a.m, walking the dog before that, bringing them back to mine. They were there working on a project till 1:30, rushed to have lunch. I haven't thought about what I'm doing for dinner tonight. I've come to uni to try and catch up on some projects I'm behind on here. I've spent the last 2 hours editing stuff.
Yeah.
We've been on a call, which I'd be happy to do because that wouldn't have clashed with everything. And now I've
Allow
got
me to interrupt
yeah.
because you're going into the negative things. So like you're sliding right back into the story of I wasn't able to be tough. So if you had been tough.
I mean, if I had been tough, I would have. I would have woken up at 8:30 still. I would have written 3 morning pages. I'd have walked the dog, and then we probably would have gone out, me, my mum, and my sister, because it's half term for her at the moment. We would have visited my nan and granddad and my uncle who are staying at the moment. We would have, sat around there, do whatever for the morning, and then I know they were going out today, so then we would have gone back home. Then I could have spent hours when it was light, sat in my room working away on assignments, which would have probably been my short story assignments. I would have written that and just took it at a slow pace this afternoon.
So what I'm hearing is you would have gotten to a lot of things that are important to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember a situation where you were actually able to be as tough as you need to be in order to have that day as you just described it to me? Were there situations where you had this toughness, as you said?
Well, it's actually quite difficult to think of situations where I've been that tough because I don't think I really have been. Uh, which is well, but I suppose before Christmas, as it came up to my deadline for my assignment, I was tough with everyone, saying, okay. And I warned everyone in advance. I said, I've got these deadlines coming up. Don't expect to hear from me that much. So if there's anything you want me to do in the next 2 weeks, let me know now so I can get it done and get it sent to you in advance. But you're not going to hear from me for the next 2 weeks while I work on these assignments.
I love that. Okay, if we look on on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 would be like where you are as tough as you need to be, and 0 is where you're like completely, where you are like too open for everybody else's requests. That Christmas situation, where were you on that scale, 1 to 10?
Probably about 6.
6, okay, but 6 was apparently already enough because you just quoted that as a positive.
Yeah.
Hmm. And where are you right now, like today?
1.
Yeah,
And that's just the truth. I mean, because I haven't said no to anything today.
and I'm really, I mean, thank you very much for being this open right now. What do you need to get? Well, let's say, what do you need to get to a 6?
It's easy to say time, but I feel like that's something I can't control. So let me think. Get to a 6. So it feels like I need to finish the things I've started.
Hmm.
So it feels like it would mean tomorrow I would have to still spend catching up. But I know I could go in to university tomorrow morning to get the work done, and then, or actually no, I couldn't. How can I be tough?
What do you need to get to a 6? I mean, I think the time thing is really, really important. I want to point out one thing where you actually were tough and that you actually probably didn't really realize. Your family is extremely important to you. That is something that I notice every time I'm in contact with you. And you just said, no, I can't because it's my sister's birthday.
Yeah,
On a scale of 1 to 10, where were you there regarding the toughness?
in that instance, I was a 9
Yeah,
because I was because I felt pushback from that, and it was like, okay, but there's other people working on this project that have got such busy schedules we need to work around, and this is the day everyone said yes to. We don't know when we're going to get them, and I'm like, okay, well, you're not going to get me then.
yeah.
Because
So those circumstances, those exact circumstances, how can we um, replicate those circumstances that allow you to say no to somebody else and say yes to your own value?
clear communication.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like if I sent a message to everyone I'm working on these projects with and just say, okay, let's set aside this time to work on it, and then that's it for the week.
Yeah, clear communication. Okay, what else?
Valuing my reasons. So my sister's birthday, that's an excuse because I mean it's not a reason, um, because I can't change when that is, and it affects emotionally someone else. Whereas if it's something that emotionally just affects me, I feel like it's less important because you know I feel like it's my responsibility to deal with that rather than someone else's. And say like if I tell someone, okay, it's my sister's birthday, like, oh, okay, that's not fair on your sister. But if I say no, I don't feel up to it, then they'll be like, okay, they'll be not trusting what I say. They'll be okay, you know, you're just making excuses. Or,
Yeah. I mean, that is a topic where we could go, like, that's a rabbit hole we could jump into right now. For right now, I would actually just have it as it is, so it is easier when it is for somebody else.
yeah, for
How
sure.
could you incorporate that if you know that this is how you operate, like this is what you need? How could you incorporate that?
It's difficult. I feel like
You are a very creative and intelligent person. You have everything inside of you that you need to solve this.
yeah, and I don't think I give myself that credit. And I feel like valuing my reasons is important. And I know that some people I work with, what they do is they block time in their calendar when
Mhm.
they work on things, and they block too much. So on Tuesday, they and we were working on a project, and we didn't work through because a lot of it we had to plan, and a lot of it was dependent on other people, which really held us back. But we
Mhm.
set aside 3 hours, and we did about 2 hours of that at quite a slow pace, where we could take, we were chatting to people in between.
Yeah.
But that meant that in the hour, it gave me time to get home, relax, and then before starting another meeting. And I know they had time to respond to all the emails they had to respond to. And so what I haven't been doing, which I do occasionally, is on my calendar, I mark out the things I don't have to do at that time but would like to do. But I'm very good at, let me show you my calendar, because I feel like this will help me explain. So say I am good at marking stuff in my calendar,
Hmm.
but because I want freedom, I leave blank spaces when I have in mind to do that thing. But because that space is blank in my mind, it's a free space for me.
Yeah.
I give that free space to other people.
So what I wrote down is like four things where you said, okay, this could actually help to manifest a surrounding where you are able to go to a nine. We have clear communication and to have to put time to set time aside for projects and to say this is where it starts, this is where it ends. Then evaluating your reasons, and that it is easier when it's for somebody else, and if it's not just you and you saying I need this time for myself. You do actually already block time in your calendar, but that actually I think it's where it goes back to the it's easier when it's for somebody else. So it doesn't really count when you block time for yourself and you offer that time to somebody else. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Okay, so um, my feeling is that the easiest way for you to be tough, to get to a nine or even to a 10, is when somebody else is involved right now. So we can actually use that to build that muscle. Um, do you have people in your life who'd be willing to help you with this?
Yes, I think so.
Are there ways, or can you think of ways how you could like rope them in or just tell them, okay, this is what I'm trying to do, and I want to spend more time with you, with family, or just with myself. Could you help me with this?
This is a really interesting observation from you, because I haven't spoken about this, but it's funny because on my mind, I used to have a friend that I spoke to every day,
Mhm.
and they not managed me, but helped me manage my time, in the way that when it came to negotiating things, they had access to, say, my Instagram account. And when people were trying to get my time, or, get my attention, they'd respond in a way that I never could. They would respond at the nine.
Yeah, yeah,
They knew I couldn't respond at the nine at that time. And I was just ignoring emails and messages. So they would respond at that nine. And I was telling them what I was doing, and they were holding me accountable.
yeah. So my question to you is, would you be willing to do a little experiment for like the coming week? And I don't know, maybe ask your sister or somebody like, okay, listen, can you give me a call when I'm in that situation and we said we finish at 6 and I'm not home at 7 or whatever it is, like
Yeah.
the parameters is they are completely up to you. Would that be something where you say, yes, that's something I want to try?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm willing to try anything at this stage.
Okay. I want to write it down. Can you give me a sentence? This week I'll experiment or something like that.
This week, I'll try asking somebody to make sure that I protect my time and I negotiate my boundaries.
This week I'll try asking. Can we maybe say I'll experiment with?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so this week I'll experiment with asking somebody to make sure to protect my time and negotiate. And that's where I lost. Sorry, I
My
wasn't that fast.
boundaries.
And negotiate
Negotiate.
my boundaries.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna send that to you in a message. Did that help?
Yeah, a lot.
Thank you so very, very much for going through this little experiment with me and for being open. I appreciate it very, 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 very much.